She never told you this, but the moment she took you for granted, something inside her changed. You felt it, didn't you? That subtle shift in her energy, the distance, the coldness, the way she stopped treating your words and your time like gold. It's not because she stopped caring. Not entirely. It's because she's learning the hard way what she lost the second she stopped valuing you. And here's the truth. Women start regretting the men they take for granted. The instant they sense a void that can't be filled by anyone else. Think about the last time she ignored a message, brushed off your plans, or made you feel invisible. That's not random. That's her subconscious recording every moment she didn't appreciate you. And men, I need you to understand this deeply. Female psychology isn't about cruelty or confusion. It's about reaction and reflection. She notices everything. Every missed call. Every word you spoke that she ignored. Every time she assumed your loyalty was endless. These are the moments that become anchors in her memory. And one day they weigh her down with regret she can't shake. Here's the brutal part. She doesn't realize her own feelings immediately. Regret doesn't arrive with a flash. It sneaks in quietly, often after she sees you thriving without her in the picture. Maybe she notices the way your friends respect you, how your life keeps moving forward, or how someone else treats you the way she should have. That's when her mind starts replaying scenes in slow motion. Suddenly, every small gesture she dismissed or laughed off becomes a glaring mistake. And make no mistake, this isn't manipulation or games. This is natural psychology. Women respond emotionally, but regret is built on rational realization. And let's not confuse this with attraction. She can't force herself to want you back just because she feels guilty. Regret is a silent, smoldering force. It's watching you live fully and realizing she's no longer the center of your world. You see, men often underestimate the power of absence. You don't have to yell, argue, or demand attention. You simply exist as someone who has boundaries, standards, and self-respect. That alone, the first signs of her silent regret, triggers the fear of loss in a woman who once assumed she had it all. Most men fail to see this because they're blinded by emotion, thinking that showing vulnerability will make her appreciate them. But it rarely works that way. Vulnerability without boundaries is invisible. It's expected. What changes her perception isn't pleading. It's knowing your worth and demonstrating it through action, not words. When she starts noticing that your time, attention, and energy aren't guaranteed, she starts questioning her choices. And this is where the internal shift begins. The signs are subtle at first. She might laugh at your jokes more genuinely, reminisce about old moments, or suddenly seem nostalgic about how things used to be. Don't misread it. This isn't a signal that she's back. It's a signal that she's starting to measure the value she lost against the comfort she had. And for the first time, the balance tips toward awareness. Awareness breeds regret, and regret is the seed of desire if you allow it. So here's what you need to understand. Regret is not immediate. It's built on moments of neglect, repetition, and the slow recognition that what she took for granted was never guaranteed. And the higher your standards, the clearer her realization becomes. You don't chase regret. You let your life become a living lesson she can't ignore. Now here's a question for you. Think about the moments in your past relationships. Can you identify 3 times she treated you as optional? Multiply that by the value of your presence in her life. That equation, your worth versus her neglect, is what she will calculate in silence. And one day it will hit her harder than any argument or confrontation ever could. Engage with us. Can you name the 3 moments she took you for granted that she will regret the most? Comment your answer below. Like this video. Subscribe for more life-changing insights. Share it with a friend who needs this tonight. She's watching you from a distance now, and you probably don't even notice. She notices everything. Your confidence, your independence, the way your presence demands respect without you asking for it. And this is where her regret begins to become tangible. She starts questioning her choices. But here's the truth most men never hear. Regret alone isn't enough to bring her back. It's the mix of regret and realization that makes her heart ache in ways she can't rationalize. She can't force herself to feel what she didn't nurture. At first she tries to convince herself it's nothing. She tells herself you were always too much or that she deserves. How your absence becomes her emotional trigger more fun. But deep inside, a quiet nagging thought keeps resurfacing. What if I lost something irreplaceable? And this is where the internal conflict begins. Female psychology is fascinating because women process loss in layers. The first layer is denial. The second layer is reflection. and the final layer is regret that stings with clarity. You may never see the first two layers, but you will feel the ripple of the last one if you play your cards right. Regret is never just about you. It's about her perspective shifting. She begins to compare her current life with the reality of what she had. She notices your absence and suddenly recognizes all the little ways you elevated her life, the moments she dismissed as routine. She remembers your patience when others would have walked away, your loyalty when everyone else tested her, your energy when she took her comfort for granted. Every forgotten compliment, every time she laughed off your concerns becomes a mark against her in the ledger of her own conscience. And here's a subtle truth men often miss. She doesn't need a dramatic revelation to feel regret. Small triggers are enough. A social media post showing your success, a conversation about your plans, someone mentioning how much they admire your stability. Each moment whispers a single undeniable truth. She underestimated you, and every whisper chips away at her confidence, building a growing awareness that she lost something of immense value. This is where men who understand female psychology get the upper hand. You don't need to lecture her, plead with her, or send messages trying to remind her of what she lost. You let the universe, or in this case, your own thriving life, do the work. Because regret isn't about what she says, it's about what she feels when she finally realizes that someone like you doesn't come around twice. You become the benchmark she measures every other man against, and the problem for her is simple. No one else compares. Notice the patterns now. Women often start subtly testing their influence again. They might comment on a post, make a seemingly casual mention of old times, or try to gauge your response to a shared memory. But don't be fooled. This is not a return. It's a reconnaissance mission for her emotions. A way to measure whether she truly lost something that can't be replaced. And if you respond too quickly, too eagerly, or without a hint of restraint, the lesson is lost. Regret only deepens when the other person is steady, controlled, and unshakable. And this is the secret most men will never hear. She can't manufacture longing on demand. Longing is born from awareness of loss and the irreplaceable nature of what she had. Your strength, your independence, your unwillingness to be optional, these are not punishments. They are the truth she's learning too late. The more you embody these qualities, the sharper her regret becomes. Now, here's a personal challenge. Look at the way she subtly, when regret turns into longing. She can't admit tested your emotions. Can you identify 3 signals she sent that showed she realized she might have lost you? Multiply that by your own self-respect and presence. That equation, her realization times your unshakable value, is what determines the power of regret she will feel. Engage with us. Can you identify the 3 signals she sent that showed she might regret taking you for granted? Comment your answer below. Like this video. Subscribe for more life-changing insights. Share it with a friend who needs this tonight. Here's where things get fascinating. She's no longer pretending. Somewhere deep inside, her mind is running scenarios she never allowed herself to consider before. She starts replaying moments where she dismissed your efforts, ignored your words, or assumed your loyalty was endless. And every memory comes with a sting because now she's measuring them against the reality of your absence. You see, women remember every detail, even the small ones you think she forgot. The truth is, she didn't forget. She simply didn't realize their value until it was too late. And this is the cruel clarity of regret. It doesn't shout, it whispers. She might smile when she recalls something you did for her, but underneath that smile is the ache of knowing she let it slide. She remembers the nights you stayed patient, the advice you gave without judgment, the way you made her feel safe even when she wasn't ready to appreciate it. She might never confess it aloud, and that's what makes this so potent. Regret is silent, but it's incredibly heavy. It weighs on her conscience in moments when she least expects it. Men often wonder why women pull away and then seem to glance back. It's not curiosity. It's the start of that silent calculation. A subtle measurement of loss versus comfort. She's comparing the excitement of novelty against the depth of what she had with you. And here's where her psychology becomes almost predictable. The more valuable you made her life, the sharper the regret. Your absence is no longer just an inconvenience. It's proof that someone who truly mattered is no longer within reach. She might try to distract herself. She might jump into new experiences, new people, and fleeting thrills. But none of it fills the space you occupied. That space wasn't just physical, it was emotional, mental, even spiritual. Every laugh, every conversation, Every silent moment you shared, these were markers of stability, respect, and presence. And now without you, she realizes how rare that combination truly was. Every distraction she chases is a temporary remedy, and every moment without you reinforces the void. Here's a subtle truth most men miss. Regret is amplified when she sees you thriving. She doesn't just want to see you exist. She wants to see that your life is full without her dependence. That's when the reflection hits hardest. Women start asking themselves questions they never dared to ask before. Why did I assume he'd always be there? Why did I let him slip through my fingers? Can I ever find someone like him again? These questions burn quietly, sometimes for months, sometimes for the subtle ways she tests if she still has access years. And the answer is always she can't. And this is where your silent power comes in. You don't need to reach out, explain, or demand attention. Your life, your standards, and your calm consistency are the mirror she looks into when she evaluates her choices. When she sees that you are no longer available to be taken for granted, her mind begins to fully understand the weight of her mistakes. Regret grows in proportion to your unshakable presence. The signs are subtle but undeniable. She might comment on your social media posts with more intent, mention memories in casual conversation, or subtly test your reactions. But men, take note. Your response is everything. React with calm confidence, not desperation. Show that you are present in your own life, not waiting for her validation. The more untouchable you appear emotionally, the deeper her regret will cut. Now, here's a challenge for you to reflect on. Think about the exact moments she could have made you feel valued but didn't. Can you list 3 instances where her neglect became a missed opportunity to keep your attention? Multiply that by your current sense of self-worth and growth. That equation, that intersection of her regret and your evolution is what determines the intensity of what she feels now. Engage with us. Can you name the 3 missed opportunities that built her silent regret? Comment your answer below. Like this video, subscribe for more life-changing insights. Share it with a friend who needs this tonight. This is where most men fail to recognize the turning point. She's past denial. She's past the subtle hints and quiet comparisons. Now the weight of what she lost begins to pull at her, and that's when regret starts transforming into longing. She begins to feel a craving not just for your attention, but for the stability, respect, and emotional depth she once dismissed. And here's the raw truth. This longing is not something you can create by chasing her. It's something she creates in her own mind, and it grows strongest when you are steady, unshakable, and fully engaged in your own life. Think about it. When a woman truly regrets taking a man for granted, it's because she starts replaying every moment you were there for her while she gave less than she could. She notices the way you listened when no one else did, the way you showed patience when others would have walked away, the way you supported her quietly without needing to be praised. That's when longing begins. She realizes that no one else can fill that space, no one else can match that energy, and no one else can reflect the balance of desire and respect that you naturally embodied. This is the critical psychology most men never understand. Longing is amplified by absence, by standards, and by the undeniable presence of self-respect. You don't have to remind her what she lost. Every time she sees you thriving, confident, or simply living your life without bending for her, she feels a sharp reminder she underestimated you. That sharp reminder is what makes her start to ache silently. It's what turns regret into longing. The realization that the comfort she took for granted came with an irreplaceable man by her side. And here's another layer. Women watching you grow without her intensifies her regret. Her often test boundaries during this phase, unconsciously or consciously. She might reach out in casual conversation, bring up memories, or seek small interactions to gauge whether she still holds influence over your life. But men, pay attention. This is not a return. This is a measurement. She's trying to see if her loss still has an effect, if you still care, and if your life without her is as fulfilling as she fears. Your response here sets the tone. Calm confidence, subtle detachment, and unwavering self-value are the silent lessons she cannot ignore. As her regret deepens, the emotional stakes rise. She starts comparing potential new partners to you, noticing the gaps no one else can fill. She begins to feel tension between desire and denial. Desire for what she once had and denial of the mistakes she made. This inner conflict often manifests as subtle messages, hints, or even nostalgic reflections. But don't misread it. This is not manipulation. It's her mind and heart finally aligning to recognize what she lost. The moment of real awakening comes when she feels your absence most sharply and she realizes it's permanent. Not because you walked away, but because you existed as someone whose presence cannot be taken lightly. That realization hits differently than any confrontation, argument, or dramatic gesture ever could. It's quiet, it's heavy, and it's permanent. Women rarely forget the emotional space a man of true worth occupies. And once they do, regret transforms into an almost physical ache. Now, here's your personal exercise. Reflect on the way she might have felt longing for you without admitting it. Can you identify 3 moments when her actions, words, or subtle behavior indicated she missed your presence and began measuring her loss? Multiply that by your current confidence and growth. That equation, that intersection of her silent longing and your unwavering self-respect is what shapes her emotional reckoning. Engage with us. Can you name 3 moments that revealed her longing for you silently building? Comment your answer below. Like this video. Subscribe for more life-changing insights. Share it with a friend who needs this tonight. Now we reach the moment most men never fully grasp. She's done pretending. She's done rationalizing. The regret that once whispered in the corners of her mind now hits with undeniable force. She begins to see the truth in black and white. She took a man of rare value for granted, and there is no erasing that mistake. This is the point where longing, reflection, and regret converge into a deep, almost physical awareness that she let someone irreplaceable slip through her fingers. The power of this realization is staggering. It doesn't matter if she acts on it or not. Regret alone changes her perspective forever. The truth she finally faces: you were irreplaceable. She will silently measure every new interaction against what she had with you. No one else will seem to match up because no one else occupies that same space in her mind and heart. This is the silent internal truth she will carry with her. She underestimated your worth. And here's the critical insight. Her regret is not about revenge. It's about recognition. Recognition of the stability, respect, and unwavering presence you gave her without demanding it back. At this stage, men often make the mistake of thinking they must act. They feel compelled to reach out, explain, or chase. But that is exactly the opposite of what creates lasting respect and desire. The lesson she needs to learn has nothing to do with words. It's about consequences. The consequence of her actions or her lack of appreciation manifests in the life you lead without her. Every success, every calm moment, every boundary you maintain is a reminder of what she lost. And this is the ultimate trigger of deep regret. Seeing that the man she assumed was always available has a life that thrives independently of her. She may test you subtly, perhaps through messages, nostalgic conversations, or social cues. Don't misread these as invitations. They are signals of recognition that she underestimated your value. Every subtle attempt to reconnect without effort on your part is evidence that the lesson is sinking in. And this is where men who understand female psychology gain a powerful advantage. You do not need to chase, justify, or negotiate desire. You embody it silently through self-respect, confidence, and the life you are building outside of her approval. Eventually, the combination of absence, reflection, and witnessing your growth becomes impossible to ignore. She realizes that you are not just any man. She lost a rare combination of loyalty, intelligence, confidence, and emotional depth. And here's the most important point. The more untouchable you are emotionally, the more her regret crystallizes. She may never tell you outright, but in quiet moments of final message and the equation she must solve, introspection, she measures your worth against herself, and she knows she came up short. And here's the challenge for you, the final equation to consider. Reflect on the 3 most powerful ways she underestimated you. Multiply that by the growth you've achieved since and calculate the weight of her regret versus your self-respect. That equation, her recognition of loss compared to your personal evolution, is the ultimate truth of female psychology that men rarely understand. Engage with us. Can you list the 3 ways she underestimated you and see how your growth amplifies her regret? Comment your answer below. Like this video. Subscribe for more life-changing insights. Share it with a friend who needs this tonight. Your silence, your strength, your life. These are the lessons she will never forget. She may come back, she may not, but her awareness of what she lost will linger forever. And that, gentlemen, is the quiet power of being a man who cannot be taken for granted.